Okay, it is 6 o'clock and I will call to order the Plainfield Charter Township Board meeting for December 16th, 2024. We will begin our meeting with the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance led by Jack Hagedorn. Jack?
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, at this, the final board meeting of 2024, we give thanks for this year. We are grateful for your guidance and protection and for the many blessings you have bestowed upon our township. We are thankful for our families, our friends, and our community. Thank you for the opportunity to serve our township and for the privilege of making a difference in the lives of our neighbors. As we look ahead to 2025, we ask for your continued guidance and wisdom. We pray that you will give us the strength and courage to face the challenges that lie ahead, and the humility, compassion, and understanding to serve all of our residents with love and respect. We pray for your wisdom in our decisions and for unity in our community. We pray for peace and harmony in our township and for the well-being of all who live here. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jack. At this time, did you want to say anything, or am I going to just turn it over to our fire chief? And
let's turn over to our fire chief.
We have the honor of watching some new firemen get their badges today.
Fantastic, and good evening, board. First of all, I want to say congratulations to all of you being sworn in as well tonight as our governing board for the next 4 years. Appreciate it. It's been an honor to have all of you here tonight to share the excitement of formally badge pinning and swearing in 7 either newly hired or promoted members of our fire department family and team. It's been a busy 6 months, and we've got 7 people here tonight in front of all of you. Due to the number, I do plan on doing a couple at a time, so if anybody's online, they can also watch and see the badge pinning. For those of you in the audience, I ask, because of the amount of time, keep your applause to the end. We'll have a time for everybody can applause at the end, but by all means, take as many pictures as you would like. PFD members, the badges that we presented to all of you tonight represent the bravery and dedication required in our profession, acknowledging the risks that may be faced to protect lives and property and seeking out the mission of the Plainfield Fire Department. So when I call your name, please step forward with whoever you have chosen tonight, that special individual, to pin that badge onto your shirt. I'd like to first invite newly hired Assistant Chief Dave Pelton. This is his mother, I believe. Chief Pelton, you can join me here in a minute. I'd like to now call up newly promoted Fire Marshal Rob Quist and newly promoted District Chief Eric Buchanan. Fire Marshal. Thank you. I'll now call up newly promoted Lieutenant Taylor Hunt and newly hired Fire and Life Safety Educator Jessica Harrington. Sure. And last but not least, newly promoted equipment operator Ruby Brock and equipment operator Justin McClintock. Justin has the blue line. So we practiced this in the bay of the fire station. If I could have all of you come forward and get in the right line that we talked about. I think, do we remember the order?
Always in front.
Always in front? Jessica, you're always in front. I don't understand this.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, give me one more shot here. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2.
And stay where you're at. I got a few words for you before I have you formally sworn in. You've all been entrusted to faithfully and honorably perform the duties of the position by the members of the department, the township board that you stand in front of tonight, and most importantly, the community that we serve. And by accepting these positions, you've committed to serving the community with courage, compassion, integrity, while sometimes placing the safety and welfare of others above your own. You are expected to protect lives, property, and the environment while responding to the community's needs with dedication and professionalism. Through the oath you are about to give, you vow to uphold the principles of integrity, professionalism, and teamwork, all while maintaining the highest standard of conduct. And most importantly, you all affirm your dedication to the mission, vision, values, and expectations of our department, fully aware of and committed to the trust placed in you by the greatest community, in my opinion, the Township Board, and one another. I now would like to invite Clerk and Retired Chief Steve McKellar to swear our members in.
It's an honor. It's an honor. All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of, state your title. I affirm my unwavering commitment to the mission and vision of this department, standing together as one team, united in the purpose and dedication to the community we serve. Congratulations, you have all been sworn in, newly promoted and hired positions of Plainfield Fire Department.
Well done.
And that concludes the fire department's presentation. Thank you all for your dedication and support for us.
How about the round of applause you promised them to do?
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, I'll pause for just a couple minutes here because I'm assuming maybe some family members would like to join their newly appointed fire folks out there, and then we'll continue with the meeting. All right, thank you, everyone. And we'll move on in our agenda here. The next item is public comments. Just to go over how public comments work. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. As you see, there is a clock there so that you will know how to manage your time. When you get to the end of your time, if you're not done, I'll give you all the high signs I can and warnings, but when you're done, you're done. No individual may speak more than once. Public comments are just that. They're not a question and answer period. Please be respectful to others. No abusive, obscene, or irrelevant comments will be allowed. So if you wish to make a comment, please remain seated, but raise your hand. I'll acknowledge you when it's your turn. Before you make any comments at the podium, you'll need to state your name and address for our record. So with all that being said, would anybody like to make any public comment at this time? Yes, sir. And I'll just, go ahead. What were you going to say?
My name is Richard Anderson.
No, go to the podium, please. And if the microphone is not on, you have to press the center there and the green light will come on. Perfect. There you go.
My name is Richard Anderson. Reside over at 5515 Isle River Drive. And I'd just like to comment to the township over here. I applaud your efforts to make improvements to the parks around the town and do other things to make this a nice community to live in. But in the case of the Grand Rogue Park, I think maybe it's a little bit overdone. Where there used to be a nice field, there's now asphalt. It reminds me sort of the worst from Joni Mitchell storm. It's like paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Now, I think, yes, there could be improvements to that area so that make it more accessible. But now it's like there's a big parking lot out there, there are paved roads where there used to be either gravel or grass. And it won't be quite as nice for those people who looking for a place to get a little bit of nature. I mean, I think it's important that we get whatever green space we can in the area in Plainfield Township and preserve it for the future because there's not much left and it goes fast. So, I know there are plans coming up for the Grand Isle Park, and I'd like to appreciate it if the planners would keep that in mind. And sometimes less is better. But I know there are some improvements needed in that area too, like a little bit of paving and stuff, but I hope we don't go quite as overboard as it is. I feel the township went with the Grand Rogue Park. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Denise Webb, 3325 Ancliffe Street. As we conclude the 2024 year, I just can't say thank you enough for all you've done.
Thank you, Denise. And I'll just say right back at you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, I'll close the floor for public comments and we will move on. Just for the board, at this time, before I ask for the review of our consent agenda. On our agenda that was sent out, there was an item listed as unfinished business, and that was to go into closed session. I'm going to drop that down and put that after we consider the brownfield item so that we keep things rolling here. So with that being said, without any questions, comments, concern from the board, I would seek a motion to approve our agenda as amended, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
I have a question and a comment on the consent agenda. I wonder if the board would consider moving agenda item 6E for, down to the end. I think it will come out perhaps being 10C, so that we could discuss the meeting dates that are suggested here in 6E.
Yep, so we'll put that after the item I just moved down. I hate to keep trying to do numbers with all of you. But that would then, I guess, become number 11 if I'm doing it right. So we're going to take 6E and move it to under new business for item number 11. Okay?
Actually, Tom, we've already got an 11, so how about?
But that's superintendent comments.
Oh, okay.
So those are all going to slide down.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? So again, I need a motion to approve our agenda as amended, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
Thank you, Jack. Support?
Support.
Was that Kathy? I'm sorry. Yep. Okay. Roll call vote, sir.
Mrs. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaft?
Yes.
Mr. Emminga?
Yes.
Okay, the next item for us is to hold a public hearing on a request to approve brownfield redevelopment plan for 4965 and 4959, correct? Plainfield. Cameron, you want to start us off?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. This may feel like deja vu for board members. This was on the last agenda. After passing it, we realized we had a clerical error and didn't get proper notice out to all taxing entities. So we have it back in front of you tonight with no additional changes other than all the proper authorities have been notified this time. That's all I have, and that's probably stealing everything Elizabeth was going to say. So unless you have anything else to add.
Nope, just that we haven't received any comments from the taxing jurisdictions that we did notify. So that's all I had to add.
Okay. So I will open the floor for public comments. Same rules apply to our previous comment time. So would anybody like to comment on this specific issue? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the floor for the public hearing, and we will move on to our new business, which is to consider a resolution to approve a brownfield redevelopment plan for 4965 and 4959 Plainfield Avenue. It's you again.
Right, so same issue. We've held the public hearing again now as required, and now looking for approval. And again, this is approval of the brownfield redevelopment plan. This is not approval of planning elements, zoning elements necessarily for the parcel. So the proposal in front of you is the same as it was at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming there's probably not going to be any board discussion, but I'll just quickly go through the roll here. Frank, you have anything? All right, Kathy?
No.
Susan?
All set.
Steve?
I'm good.
Bob?
Good.
Jack?
Good.
Okay. So with that said, I would seek a motion.
I move that the Township Board approve the resolution creating a brownfield redevelopment plan for Coit Flats, the multifamily housing project and related infrastructure at 4959 Plainfield Avenue and 4965 Plainfield Avenue for a period of 20 years, with an additional 5 years of capture for the state and local brownfield revolving funds based on the following findings of facts. 1, the subject property is eligible for Act 381 tax increment financing as a housing property. 2, the expenses requested for the reimbursement are eligible under Act 3181. Number 3, the end use of the project has the following elements that meet the township's criteria for investment. A, investment in the township's reimagined Plainfield Avenue, an area of special emphasis for redevelopment. B, diverse housing types. C, workforce housing provision. D, blight removal. E, sustainable high-end building materials. And F, pedestrian-oriented amenities.
Thank you, Susan. Support? Thank you, Frank. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaft,
Yes.
Mr. Reminga,
Yes.
Beatty.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will now move on to the item that I moved down, which I need a motion for us to move into closed session with our township attorney regarding the settlement strategy in the matter with West Michigan Sports Commission.
I move to enter into closed session to consult with the township attorney regarding settlement strategy in the matter of West Michigan Sports Commission versus Plainfield Township, Michigan Tax Tribunal docket number 23-001579-TT pursuant to Section 8(1)(e) of the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you, Frank. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Jack. Roll call vote.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaft,
Yes.
Mr. Reminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
and Mr. Coleman.
Yes. Oh,
I was going to comment that there's, for those who might want to wait around, there's the potential of board action following the closed session. So
correct.
if that influences your decision to get up and leave or not.
You're welcome to stay, though. Okay. Okay. Nope, I'm not good. Hello, hello, hello. Nope, still nothing. There we go. Okay, so first things first, we should have a motion to resume our meeting.
I make a motion that we go back into open session.
Thank you, Jack. Support?
Support?
I think that was Kathy first. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaff,
Yes.
Mr. Emminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
motion approved.
Okay, as a result of our closed session, I would seek a motion at this time.
I move the resolution approving the settlement and related agreements regarding the tax appeal matter entitled West Michigan Sports Commission versus Plainfield Township, Michigan Tax Tribunal, docket number 23-001579-TT, and authorizing necessary related actions.
Thank you, Frank. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Jack. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaff,
Yes.
Mr. Emminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
motion approved.
Thank you. And that gets us to the item we moved from the consent agenda, which was, I believe, item E, which is our meeting dates. So Susan, you asked for that to be moved, so I guess I'll let you start the conversation.
Okay. On the documents that came with the agenda, it shows our meetings would be reduced by 4 meetings. And my concern was that, first of all, we are going to come in the month of August on the 11th and the 25th, with the 25th being a budget workshop. The October meeting is twice for a budget workshop, and that's great. But I also valued the workshop that we did with the Planning Commission, and I also valued the workshop that we had with the Parks and Rec. And I just wondered whether we could at least put 2 more. We can look at January, March, April, and July. Those are the 4 that we are eliminating. But I sort of wanted the opportunity to have some other things other than just business meetings. I think the workshop was very valuable for lots of people. And so that's why I asked you to consider choosing 2 more dates, or I always work with a calendar and I put both, whatever's on my, going to be a responsibility, I put it on there. And so I don't have to go back and look and get a date. For example, January 13th and let's say the 20th. If both of those are on my calendar and we eliminate the 20th for one reason or another, no problem, you take it off. But if somebody called and said, oh, by the way, we're going to have a meeting on the 20th, then it's putting it into a calendar that was already clear. So anyway, that's my concern. I think I'd like to see two other dates put on there with the idea that they would be some kind of enrichment workshop where we got to work with the Planning Commission is a good example. That's all.
Okay, let me own this, because Cameron came to me and said, what do you think about meeting dates in '25? So Tom went back to what I started working on when I initially got elected, which was making this operate in a more efficient and respectful manner to everyone involved. So that's us, that's the staff, and that's the residents. Just tonight, you experienced a 20-minute meeting. So when the first 2 years I served on this board, it drove me nuts that I spent more time driving back and forth from my home than I did in a meeting. So in 2022, we agreed to reduce the number of meetings that we held. In '23, we did have these workshops. Now, the Planning Commission workshop doesn't take place every year. That only happens when they're doing their big bigger tasks. If you want to engage with the planning commission, they meet once a month. Go. You can watch it online. I do every month. I want to know what's going on. Parks and Rec, they came before us before, and I have enough respect for Bill Fisher and the community development folk that if they think there's a need that Parks and Rec committee come before us, that they would have us do that. So I don't know what they have going on that they need to be on our meeting schedule. Infrastructure meetings. There was a time during the worldwide, or the Wolverine worldwide settlement, that we had infrastructure coming out of our ears. Those days are primarily gone. So now, you know, there's no reason that whoever from Prine and Newhoff, typically Kevin, can't come to a meeting like this one and spend 15, 20 minutes telling us what streets we're doing or whatever, and on we go. So that was my motivation to say, when I was in business, I detested going to meetings because we just had to have a meeting. If we're not going to do something substantial or conduct business of the township that needs to be done, why are we sitting here?
Because the perception that I have of the planning commission meeting and the Parks and Rec meeting was that they were not coming before us. We were working together.
As someone who came from the planning commission and got elected to this position, I can tell you that that's totally wrong thinking. The planning commission wants to run autonomous to this board. They don't want to get involved in politics. When I was there, I just wanted to make the best decision I could make for the community as a whole, following the guidelines we had to follow. It's not a time to socialize. We're here to do the business of the township. We're not here to socialize. We're not here to campaign or have a feel-good exercise. That's my opinion. So that's why I did what I did with the calendar. I'd love to have others engage.
Can I weigh in?
Yeah, would you
Yes.
ask
I-
us?
I think, well, two things. With the technology that we have, the meetings have to be necessary. I run my own business, and I have to decide, I have to spend my time doing what makes me money, not spend time doing other things, and you have to make those decisions. I think it's kind of a disservice to the residents. When we ask them to come in for a 10-minute meeting, they have things that they want to do as well with their lives. And we're supposed to be representing them, and we ask them, first of all, we took it from 7 to 6. And I've had residents come to me about that, to the earlier meeting time. Then we've had a lot of meetings where we've been here 10, 15 minutes, and the residents are, first of all, trying to get home earlier because it's a 6 o'clock meeting instead of a 7. And then they get here, and 10 minutes after they get here, we're done. And it takes them as long to get here or longer to get here than the meeting runs. And that's not respecting the residents of this township. We're serving them, right? Not ourselves?
Kathy?
Let's get.
Yeah, I think we had good reason to trim it down initially. I personally am, and as a representative of Plainfield Township, I want to see us maintain the 18 meetings instead of going down to the 14, simply for consistency. Yes, we don't have many people in the audience, but we can always say that we showed up. Yes, well, there may not be a lot of business to take care of, but we have showed up to represent this township and to do the job as a trustee. So and I would love to make a motion that we maintain the 18. It is important that we have those meetings with the Planning Commission and the infrastructure or whatever the needs are, Parks and Rep. Those are always informative for us, and it gets us face to face. Yes, we can, and I do go to some of the other meetings, but there's something different about us coming together as a board with them. So I am in favor of more meetings, and 18 would be what I would make a motion for.
Further discussion, Steve? I know you're the, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I don't like the short meetings. I would rather come, and if a monthly meeting is 2 hours, then great, let's get the business done in 2 hours. I've sat in the back, for 7 years, and it was disheartening when we only had a 15, 20-minute meeting, and I'm talking personally, and I'm taking time away from my family where I think we'd be more productive with a 2-hour meeting.
Thank you. Second newbie, Bob.
Thank you, Tom. I'm with Steve, Tom, and I'm with Frank. I'm in business, and I'm older. Well, we're probably all older, but I'm just saying that I'm really, really time conscious.
Careful with the older thing.
Well, yeah, right. Okay, sorry there, Pops. But I'm very, very I've become, especially last 10 years, I've become more time conscious, okay? So if I'm gonna put time into something, I wanna see some sort of fruit or reward, not just money-wise, but yes, sometimes that. But I'm just saying that to have meetings, just to have meetings. I was in corporate America back in the 90s, and I was ready to jump out of a window in New York City because we'd fly all the way to New York and sit there, and then I go, what was this all about? And then we'd have another meeting, another meeting, another meeting. And it's just, it was insanity. So I really like the schedule, the way it's laid out. That's just me personally. And I think we can also do that and serve the wonderful people of Plainfield Township at the same time.
Thanks, Bob. Jack?
I got my own axe to grind. It's not what any of you have talked. I can see your side. I can see your side. I want to walk over here.
Okay.
You can see my suit while I'm doing it.
I had no idea.
Statement, the guiding principles, and the mission statement. That came out of a board meeting. That, in my mind, was very useful. There are 2 board meetings that we have had in the past that have been useful that I think we should continue to have. One occurs at the beginning of the 4 years where we set goals as a township, and I think we should have a meeting to do that. Wouldn't you concur?
That can be part,
Supervisor?
that can be part of our meeting, you bet.
Well,
I don't know if that needs to be a special meeting.
I'm not really sure that that can take place as part of a monthly meeting, but you can figure that out. The other thing is, and this happened at probably at the beginning of our 4-year term last time, or maybe it was 8 years, I don't know. There was another time where we had someone come in to help us do team building. I appreciated that. I thought that was good. I don't see us meeting and calling like the planning commission to come to us and meet and say something, or the infrastructure committee. I don't see that. But these are 2 subjects that I think could be a part of meetings. And in my mind, maybe we can have a compromise between what you're suggesting, with which are necessary meetings and I think are good, and add those 2 meetings because I think goal setting and team building are important.
And from my perspective, I agree with you, okay? Having said that, this isn't hard and fast and not saying we can't schedule a second meeting during some month if there's a need be. I'm trying to establish, my thought was, I was trying to establish a minimum meeting schedule. If we want to do more, nothing says we can't.
Sure.
If we want to invite the planning commission to come to one of our meetings, they can come to one of our regular meetings. Okay, I've said my case.
I just want to say one more thing.
Okay,
The 2 meetings, the goal setting, the team meeting, were specifically designed for that, and they did take a while.
Sure.
And they happened at the beginning of a term, and I would like to see them happen at the beginning of a term. So if we scheduled 2 more meetings, I'd like to see those happen maybe once in February and once in March or something like that. I'd like to get Cameron's take on that, because he's pretty much initiated them.
So first I need a witness. Sue, what is the first item under superintendent's comments?
Strategic plan.
Thank you, strategic plan. So I did intend to talk about that tonight.
Okay.
And I agree with Jack. So what we've found works best in the past is to set up a separate date outside of, a regular meeting or a board, this format does not work for strategic planning. And what I've also found, because we've done this a few times, give the newbies a chance to settle in. So what I found is give them 6 months. Let them get their feet underneath them before we start asking them, what do you think needs to happen? So that's what I found to work the best. If we look at, late spring into summer, that might be a better timing to look for that, so that people can get their wheels turning. And that's why I was gonna bring it up tonight, so you can get those wheels turning. As you have downtime over the holidays, you can think about what should we be working on next year. So I would like to do that. Outside of, my intent was outside of a regular business meeting, and these are business meetings on here.
They are meetings, but they're not business.
Correct.
Yeah.
And yes, you have to follow all the same open meetings rules. Those still apply, even if you aren't going to make a motion. You are still deliberating to the future of this community. You need to have an open meeting. That is plain and simple. But it doesn't have to be in this format. You can do it differently. It can be a different time, different location, different format. And I think that's actually better, as you alluded to, for strategic planning, to get out of a stuffy formal structure and be able to interact differently. There's also possibility too of inviting others into, now it's the board's strategic plan, but that doesn't preclude you from getting input from other groups, including Planning Commission, Parks and Rec, et cetera. All the people who are involved in the details of governance for this community, invite them to a strategic planning session too, as a open time to share ideas. These are all things that we can work through as we put the process together. And I appreciate what you said about the team building, Jack, because I felt like 8 years ago, that was a bit of a gamble. I was kind of sticking my neck out saying, are they gonna go for this kumbaya stuff? But we had a lot of new faces on the board at the time, and I felt it was necessary to get some people to get to relate to each other outside of just this format. Also because there had been some bad blood in the past elections that had taken place, and I'm glad to hear that was helpful. And I'm not suggesting we necessarily have to do that this time. If that's something you want me to look into, I'm happy to do that. I'll follow the board's lead on that.
So, by way of concluding my remarks, which I'd like to propose that we postpone this, and that, Tom, you and Cameron get together and talk about those 2 items.
I don't think we can postpone it because we need to have a meeting in January.
Well, okay, then decide on January and postpone the rest.
Could we, if I may, could we approve at least a minimum and then still put it on as an item for discussion in January? Would that be acceptable? Because I want to at least get a published calendar
As long
out there.
as long as we do pursue that, yes.
So I need a motion. I've heard a couple different ideas. Who wants to go first?
I move that we accept the meeting schedule that has been presented, and encourage our commitment that we just made in a discussion to have additional meetings to enrich our goals and that kind of thing. Get that all, Steve?
By encourage, you meant instruct your superintendent to put this
Yes,
on the agenda for the
there you
next
go,
meeting?
There
Okay.
you go.
There you go.
Whatever.
Anybody want to second Sue's motion?
I'll second it.
Anybody want to try to repeat it? No. You seconded, Bob? Yes, sir. Okay. You ready, Steve? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Pfaff,
Yes.
Mr. Remminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
No,
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate the discussion.
You're welcome. So we are done with our agenda. We'll move on to Cameron's strategic plan comments.
All right. So that was a nice segue, right? We
Yeah,
talk about, so every 4 years, what we've done the last 2 terms, or 2 or 3 terms now, is to get together at the beginning of a board term to talk about what are your goals and objectives. And, you know, as we look at that, that's, you know, Jack pointed out our vision statement, our core elements. That's something we should review again. Is it still relevant? Is it still the wording that you feel best represents the mission statement and the core values of this organization? And then what are the goals? What are the objectives? What do we want to get accomplished? What direction are we going? I see it as planning a road trip. You got to decide on the destination, and then you have to decide on the route. So, and they're 2 things. There's a lot of times where you can decide on the destination and agree on that, but there's no agreement on the direction to get to that route. You know, are we driving or flying to Florida? Are we doing this or doing that, right? So you got to come together on both things.
As long as we have dinner.
As long as there's dinner on the way, Jack's all set. So,
I was going to say, I thought it was going to be Frank's all set. Frank wants to know where you're ordering first, then he'll vote.
so as I said earlier, get your wheels turning. If hopefully you get a little bit of downtime between the busyness of Christmas, New Year's, all of that you can think about that and think about where do you see this organization going? Where does it need to be going? How does it need to be getting there? Because that's what we need to talk about and review. What have we been focused on for the last 4 years? And is there any of that carries over? Mission not yet accomplished, that we need to carry that forward? A big one that comes to my mind is road repair, road funding. Yeah, we've been making great progress on that, but not mission accomplished yet, right? So,
Pretty close. That report you sent us was very good. I slept that night.
so what are the elements that we need to focus on? And, you know, as we work through a strategic plan, it does not include every detail of every operation that we do. That's not a strategic plan. Strategic plan is it's your vision, right? It's what are we gonna focus on? What are the priority items for us? So we'll have to work through that, and the brainstorming's the fun part, and then you gotta prioritize, right? Then you gotta take all those ideas and say, we can't do it all. What are we gonna focus on? Or what are our highest priorities? If we can get through items, you know, A through M on the list, great, but you gotta set them in a priority order, so I know what to work on, staff knows what to work on, and the public knows what your intentions are for their community. So we're gonna work through that, put those thoughts together. We'll get together on ideas on location, timing of getting together for that. It really is crucial that we have everyone involved. So I will work around as much as I can around people's calendars. So we'll talk about that too. When are you around, not on vacation, not work-related things that are taking you out of town, so we can get best availability possible. So watch for that, particularly after the first of the year. And then usually I have 3 things. I think I only got 2 tonight. The other one is a big thank you for everyone who's been involved in the organization this year, from our elected leaders, new and past. Thank you, Nancy. And our staff. Thank you, Jen. Everyone else ditched us.
Yeah,
No one to go home. And our residents. Art's still here. And our residents. So thank you, everyone that has worked together to, you know, just as we debated over how many times to meet, we don't debate much, right? This group doesn't debate much. You're pretty much in lockstep. So it's actually kind of fun to watch you hash out ideas once in a while. but that comes to a common vision. So thank you for buying into the vision and working together to achieve it. And that goes for our staff as well. We've got a great staff, and we remind them of that frequently, but I want to say it publicly again. Thank you to everyone that's made 2024 a successful year. That's all I have.
Okay, board comments. I'm gonna start this way this time, Jack.
Well, you noticed my suit coat. I just wanted to make sure.
How could you
all
not
noticed that.
notice your suit coat?
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
That's all you got is your suit coat? Okay. Top that, Bob.
I don't have the fashion sense that Jack has, but I'm just, like Hubert Humphrey used to say, I'm just pleased as punch to be here, right? So, no, I'm looking forward to the year and getting some stuff done for the people of Plainfield Township.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bob. Steve?
I'd like to echo that. I'm honored to be on this board, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. One thing I think I'd like to get a dress code established.
Let me help you with that.
Okay, I will.
No suits and
We've
ties.
already established that. We've established that already.
Frank,
It's
will you,
jeans and a dress shirt.
You look good.
We've already established the dress code before you guys got here.
there is
so-
something wrong with this side
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
desk, I'm
yeah.
telling you.
We were brainwashed before, but we're on the right side now.
Okay, I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
Okay, fantastic, in more ways than one. Susan?
I wanted to remind all of us, thank you, Kathy, remind us to turn the microphone on. Everybody got the Plainfield Road Historical Society thing on Wednesday night. This is Monday. On Wednesday, there's the first try at a community Christmas celebration with Christmas trees and hot chocolate and all that kind of stuff. And your newsletters are in your mailbox. But anyway, it starts at about 4 something, and the Varsity Voices from Northview will be singing. And that's their first time to see if they can get something going for the community.
And my daughter is part of Varsity Voices. She does everything over there vocally and drama, all that. So she's part of that.
The only thing that I wasn't able to determine was whether or not there's any seating.
Yeah, I thank you for mentioning that. I forgot to make mention of this event because it is new and it's still getting in my head that we have a Christmas event here. I'm not aware of any seating. I think it's more of a stand-around kind of event. It's out in front of the former Kmart Devon self-storage area next to Firestone. Key element, I don't know if it's in there, they've asked our fire department to put the star on top of the tree.
Oh,
So
that's very cool.
they're not here to ask if, we talked about, is there a way to get the drone to lower it, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So thanks
That
for
would have
bringing
been
that up.
cool. Well, thanks. And my other comment was that Bill Brinkman is going back and forth between different medical places, and he's back in the veterans home. And I just wanted to tell all of us, even those who have been on for a while, I think we have had so many healthy years that several years ago, you all gave me $20 and I put it in an envelope, and we sent one thing to Cameron's wife, and we still have all this money. So if you want me to, I don't know whether to go back. Would you like me to send something to Bill? Would, whatever. Even cards, shall I send him some cards from all of us? That kind of thing. Anyway, we have money in the pot, and if you want me to do something with it, I've got it. Thanks.
Okay, so if you have a suggestion for Susan, just get with Susan, because she's the director of that, right?
No.
Okay, Kathy?
I have the money.
Just want to appreciate all of the board members and the community, and certainly our temporary board member trustee that we miss up here. So, but it's been a good year, and I'm grateful, Cameron, for your leadership as well, Jen, for your leadership, and I look forward to 2025 of lots of good things for this township, and I will just conclude by saying Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Frank?
I just want to say how much I appreciate Plainfield Township, the staff, the board, residents. We have it really, really well here. It is not like this in a lot of communities, and all of you know that. As far as Bill, I would probably maybe get something for Barb. I visited Bill, and, he can't really have anything. So probably, Barb is, she's transitioning, and she's going through a lot. And so probably if we could maybe do something for her, in fact.
Little thinking of you,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Good? Okay,
But just have a blessed Christmas, everybody.
thank you. Well, the last two stole a lot of my thunder. I say all the time, and I'll just repeat myself, we're very blessed in this township to have the staff we have, to have all the people who work in our township for us and for all the residents. There's not much more to say other than that. We are very, very blessed. Everyone have a Merry Christmas. Travel safe if you're traveling. Enjoy the holidays. And remember, that's what should be first, family first.
Good job.